Hello and welcome to the online library project. My name is Diana, I am English teacher and today we are going to have a virtual class. At this lesson we will talk about school rules, practice more vocabulary on this topic, focus on the use of the learned expressions, as well as we shall practice reading and of course express agreement and disagreement toward the text comprehension. For the beginning, I invite you to look at the screen. Here are some expressions. Be so nice to tell what are they. Are there any recommendations, advices, or rules? Come to school on time, raise your hand, listen to the teacher, do your homework, be respectful, be helpful, don't interrupt, don't fight. Of course you are right. There are rules, school rules. So remember, school rules are associated with classroom management and school discipline. Now let's go through the expressions to see their translations. Get ready to look, repeat, and note school rules. Come to school on time. A veni la școală la timp. Raise your hand. Ridică mâna. Listen to your teacher. Ascultă profesorul. Do your homework. Faceți temele pentru acasă. Be respectful. Fii respectuos. Be helpful. Fii de ajutor. Don't interrupt. Nu întrerupe. Don't fight. Nu te lua la bătaie. Now it is time to practice. We shall associate the learned expressions with the pictures. So on the screen you see two pictures and the expressions. Listen to your teacher. Don't fight. Raise your hand. Don't interrupt. Make a pause for some seconds and think. Let's check. The first picture goes with the expression don't interrupt. The second picture goes with the expression don't fight. Be ready for the next challenge. Look at the screen. We have two pictures and the expressions. Listen to your teacher. Don't fight. Raise your hand. Do your homework. Make a pause for some seconds and think. Let's check. The first picture goes with raise your hand. The second picture goes with listen to your teacher. Now be attentive to the last one. We have the pictures and the expressions. Be respectful, be helpful, raise your hand, come to school on time. Make a pause for some seconds and think. Let's check. So the first picture goes with come to school on time. The second one with be respectful. Great. Good job. Now we are going to practice some more vocabulary on the topic school rule. Bailing. It is when someone is rude or not very nice to someone else, and this is called bailing, intimidare. Wait to be called on. Așteaptă să fii ascultat. Be polite means to use polite words every day like thank you, please, excuse me. A fi politicos. Now it is time to practice more pronunciation. Bailing. Wait to be called on. Don't interrupt. Don't fight. Be respectful. Be polite. Be helpful. Come to school on time. Listen to your teacher. Do homework. Raise your hand. It is time to practice reading. Listen and read. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. The pupils are in the classroom. They are having a lesson. Andy is sitting alone. His deskmate Sandy is not in the classroom. He is usually late. He often oversleeps. When he comes to school late, he says, "I am sorry, I am late." And every time he promises to come to school on time. Now we shall express agreement and disagreement on the statements. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. Be so nice to remember the text. It is 9 o'clock in the morning. The pupils are in the classroom. They are having a lesson. So, it is 9 o'clock in the morning and we agree on the statement. Do you agree or disagree that the pupils are in the gym? Go through the text again. The pupils are in the classroom, so we disagree. They are not in the gym. Do you agree or disagree that Andy often oversleeps? Remember the text. Sandy is not in the classroom. He often oversleeps. So, we disagree. Sandy often oversleeps. Do you agree or disagree that Sandy is not in the classroom? Remember again the text. So, Sandy is not in the classroom and we agree. Sandy feels sorry when he comes on time. Do you agree or disagree on this statement? Remember again the text. We disagree. That's because Sandy feels sorry when he comes to school late. Great. Good job. Remember, words like sometimes, usually, never, often, every day are words to express how regularly we do things. And those words are mostly used at the beginning or at the end of the sentence, with some exceptions. So, get ready to remember. For example, every day. We can use every day to express how frequently we do things, either at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. Example, I get up at 7 o'clock every day. Every day I study English. So, every day can be used at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. I get up at 7 o'clock every day. Every day I study English. Words like never and often also express how frequently we do things, but they are used in mid-position between the subject and the main verb. Examples: we never fight at school, so never is used between the subject we and the main verb never. The same rule is available for often. Sandy often oversleeps. Often is used in mid-position between the subject Sandy and the main verb oversleeps. Remember one more. Never and often are used in mid-position. We never fight at school. Sandy often oversleeps. Usually also expresses how frequently we do things, and it is used also in mid-position between the subject and the main verb. We usually go to school in the morning, so usually is used between the subject we and the main verb go. But we can use usually after the main verb if there is an auxiliary like to be or a modal. Example: Sandy is usually late. So usually is used after the auxiliary to be. Sandy is. Or another example after a modal. You can usually buy tickets for concert on internet. Usually is used after the verb can. When we talk about sometimes, you can use either at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. Sometimes I am late. I am late sometimes. So sometimes at the beginning or at the end. Sometimes I read books. I read books sometimes at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. But we use sometimes after a modal or an auxiliary verb. I cannot sometimes fall asleep, or I am sometimes late. Sometimes after the modal cannot, sometimes after the verb to be. Now let's practice. Look at the screen and create sentences. There are some pictures on the screen and symbols of how frequently we do things at school. Let's start. Run. We run at school sometimes. Or you can say, sometimes we run at school. Both variants are correct. Look at the screen. Greet. We usually greet people. Usually, if you remember, is used in mid-position between the subject and the main verb. Read. We read every day. Or you can say, every day we read. Both variants are correct. Draw. We often draw during art classes. Fight. We never fight. Great, good job. Now let's play a game, School Rules. I will ask and you will think, what school rule is it? So, be ready. What do you do when we want to speak in class? Make a pause and think. So, the rule is to raise your hand and wait to be called on. Great. Be attentive for the next question. What do you do when your teacher explains the new topic? Make a pause and think, what rule is it? So the rule is to listen to your teacher. Great, good job. What do you do when your deskmate asks for help? So, the rule is to be helpful. What do you do when someone shares his ideas, thoughts? The rule is don't interrupt. What words are polite words to use every day? What rule is it? So, remember from the lesson, please, thank you, excuse me are polite words to use every day. And the rule is to be polite. Imagine that you are on the playground and see someone not being very nice to someone else. What is that called? So you are right. It is called bullying. Great, good job. Now let's make a review. What have we talked about? So we talked about school rules. We also learned expressions and word combinations to the topic school rules, like bullying, wait to be called on, don't interrupt, don't fight, be respectful, be polite, be helpful, come to school on time, listen to your teacher, do homework, raise your hand. We also learned expressions that show how frequently we do things. And those words are sometimes, usually, that shows something normally we do, never, often, shows what we do many times, every day. And as you remember, every day can be used either at the end of the sentence, I get up at 7 o'clock every day, or at the beginning of the sentence, every day I study English. Never and often are used in mid-position. We never fight at school. Sandy often oversleeps. Usually also is placed in mid-position. We usually go to school in the morning. But you can use after the verb auxiliary or a modal. Sandy is usually late. Sometimes can be used in all positions. Sometimes I am late. I am late sometimes. Or I am sometimes late. Reflection time. It is good to make a list of your classroom rules. Use sometimes, often, never, usually, every day, and share with your classmates next time. Goodbye. See you next time.